The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Join Planet Fitness today and get more epic energy and better sleep with tons of equipment in our clean and spacious clubs. Join for $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends Wednesday, September 14th. It's glow time. See club for details.
Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. From Asthma Studios near Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, man.
It's the Weedsman Podcast.
I have no idea what's going on.
And now,
You have smoked yourself retarded.
here are the Weedsmen.
You want to get high?
Back to school. Back to school.
Yeah, it's after Labor Day. I've folded up all of my white pants and placed them back in the top shelf of the closet. Polished up my white loafers and put those in a storage bin and put that on the shelf in the basement. Yep.
Closed up your pool.
See you next year, guys. Yeah, closed up my pool.
Oh, what else did you do on Labor Day?
Yeah. Had to put the yacht into storage.
I took your boat out of the water. What else?
I had the yacht shrink wrapped. That's what they do with them now. Like when they store them, they just like put this big white shrink wrap around them.
Yeah. It's one way to keep the dirt off it.
Is what I've heard.
Yeah. You know, as far as close as I live to boat culture.
Yeah.
Well, it takes money to be involved in boat culture.
Right. Yeah, but you were like right on the
Well, sort of, like a half a mile from the lake, and then,
yeah.
Without getting, it's getting extraordinarily local. There's something called the Nautical Mile near my house, and and it's just there's just a string of marinas.
You're like 1/2 mile and one whole tax bracket away from
Right, I'm this close. Yeah. But you drive by the marinas, and you used to just see them all up in racks over the winter, and I guess now, you shrink wrap them, I guess.
Right. They probably still put them on the racks, huh? Put them on the rack.
Just in
put them on the glass.
Put them yachties on the rack.
Yeah, so, summer went by fast.
School buses are back in the morning fucking my shit up.
Yeah? How do they fuck your shit up?
Because they stop.
Just in your way, yeah.
Because
you can't go around them.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, the roads that I take,
right,
you cannot pass.
Right.
And when they stop,
cannot collect $200.
And when school buses stop, everyone got to stop. Like you can't pass a school bus.
Everybody. Makes sense. You don't know where those kids are shooting out from.
Well, I've noticed in the morning, just the yellow lights, but in the afternoon you get the red lights. Well, because I guess too, like there's no danger of a kid running out in front of a bus and they're being picked up by it.
Oh, so wait a minute. There's different types of lights on the bus?
What? You have a driver's license, right?
Yeah. I'm also colorblind.
Yeah. Oh.
I don't know. But don't they just flip open the stop sign, right?
The yellow lights mean you can pass the bus.
Oh, so when the bus stops and it's got its like regular warning lights, like its flashers on, but the stop sign isn't out?
Yeah, when it's got the yellow lights on, you can pass it, but you got to go slow.
Right. Because that's when kids are going to the bus and you're more likely to be able to see them. But when they're unloading, then they're stop it.
Spraying everywhere.
Yeah, because they're just like, whoa!
No, but the red light goes on and the stop sign comes out.
Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense. What else? Football season.
Oh, yeah. The fantasy draft. I'll probably... I can auto draft the first 2 rounds because you have best player available. I'll probably be drafting at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I am... To answer Hank Williams' question, yes, I am ready for some football.
I saw that Ozzy was doing like a performance, a halftime performance for an opening show. Is this a regular thing?
I think he's doing Thursday night. He's doing like a kickoff performance or something. It's the first game of the NFL season on Thursday.
Right. So do they normally have entertainment like this for their opener?
Yes and no.
Yeah,
they've been trying to the last few years.
They're trying to make it a thing like the Super Bowl halftime.
Like I said, it's the kickoff of the whole entire season. It's the first regular season game.
People are fucking excited.
Yeah. So they booked the corpse of Ozzy.
decapitated a bat, squeezed its blood into his mouth, and he came back to life, choking and really sputtering. Said, just point me to the stage.
His retirement sucks tour should have been his last tour.
Yeah,
because I know there was no more tours, and then he was going to be, and then he came out and did.
He's done a lot of farewell tours.
Yes, but even with his music, like now when he comes out with a song, you can hear the auto tune.
Yeah,
yeah, and I mean, and it's not, and it's a well kept secret, or it's a not well kept secret. He's been using a teleprompter on stage for like 3 decades at this point.
Oh, really?
Dude, I saw him when he came for Ozfest like 20 fucking years ago, 25 years.
Does anyone really know those lyrics?
You could see...
Like, couldn't you fumble through most of them?
Right.
Especially the Sabbath stuff.
But I mean, the angle that we had our seats at, you could clearly see the teleprompters on. Wasn't even trying to hide it.
Yeah. They should just blast them up on the screen and have everybody just do karaoke.
Like at that point, he was like, listen, I'm like mid-50s. I've done a lot of drugs. I've drank a lot of booze.
Yeah.
You want to hear Iron Man? This is how I remember the words. And I'm not sure if I saw him pre or post the accident where he fucking almost killed himself on that 4-wheeler.
What was it? What, did he just flip over?
Yeah.
How do you get, dude, it's pretty fucking hard to like flip over a 4-wheeler.
It is, but it isn't.
Well, I did like do a jump with one of them, and I fucked myself up pretty bad from that.
Hey, don't you remember? It wasn't even when he was doing the Osbournes, he was just riding his ATV around his property or some shit, and he flipped it.
Yeah. Like, it's probably corner too hard, and you flip it that way, you'll fuck yourself up.
Can I just believe Ozzy had like a 5th of tequila for breakfast and was just out there whiling it? Trying to do a fucking handstand on his handlebars.
Oh, the good old days of reality television, huh?
Right.
It's all gotten out of hand now. Those are the tame old days.
The good old days when you hated Kelly and Jack. You know,
yeah, I guess.
Kelly's still fairly hateable.
She's gotten a lot better. Like, I've heard a handful of interviews, and yeah, I think that she's still like arrogant as fuck.
Yeah,
you know, yes. But more tolerable.
And I'll tell you,
Jack's
the one I've turned around on is Jack.
Jack's pretty cool.
Like, he was on Adam Carolla a few months ago, and I've heard him on other. I've heard other interviews with him too.
He did Bill Maher's podcast in the shed. Yeah, that thing. Yeah, I thought he was. Hey, he's a smart kid. He's not a kid. I mean, he's fucking whatever.
Middle-aged man at this point. Exactly. Osbourne was a long fucking time ago.
Yeah.
No, I've turned around on Jack.
But for somebody who was like, you know, grew up in their teen years on television with a famous family, I mean,
he sounds fairly well adjusted.
Right. Like, Kelly just makes sense. You're like, yeah, that's what happens. You know? You raise a girl in an environment where nobody tells her no, and she has all the walking around money that she could ask for. You know, that's.
But wasn't Jack fairly honest about things did get out of hand? Like, did he do a bunch of drugs or some shit?
Oh yeah, he's been open about his drug use, his excess. The hell, man. Remember what it was like living in excess when we were poor? Imagine doing that rich.
Right.
How do you not OD?
No shit. Well, I do know, aren't there a couple of metal bands that owe their careers to him because they were on the Osbournes? Because he was telling his dad, like, I like this band. I think it was like,
oh, really?
Wasn't it Demu Borger? One of those. It was a couple of Norwegian.
Did you start having a stroke?
It was a couple of Norwegian death metal bands.
Are you trying to read it from their logo?
Beavis. Boothead.
I actually got a Paramount subscription and I still haven't watched that.
Oh, I still have to do that. Speaking of Paramount, did you watch the Taylor Hawkins concert? Did you know about that thing that went on over the weekend?
Oh, like
the concert in London?
No, I didn't really know about it. I saw that wasn't his kid or something that was playing with.
It was dude. This concert was. It started with Liam Gallagher singing Rockstar and Live Forever. Dude, it was one of these kind of things.
Okay.
Like, and Them Crooked Vultures had a reunion.
All right.
Hold on. Let me... McCartney showed up, did Oh Darling with Chrissy Hynde. Has never performed it live ever. Apparently it sounded like it. But, he's 80. And he even joked about it. He's like, yeah, that's a song I wrote 100 years ago.
I fucking love that song.
Yeah.
Is that all Paul on the lead vocals on the recorded version?
Oh yeah,
like that's his song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't even have to check. Abbey Road's like, it used to, when I was younger, it used to be like Sgt. Pepper's and everything else. Now it's like, why not say Abbey Road and Magical Mystery Chewer? Go back and forth for me.
And those like screaming notes that he hits on that song.
Oh yeah,
fucking just. I know, like everyone thinks of John as like the more primal screamer of the group, but
and he did. Him and Yoko did do primal scream therapy.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me read about it.
But like Paul's voice was always like sweeter, and John's voice had a little bit of like rasp to it. And but man, when Paul really opened up, and you can just hear like his vocal cords just hitting the wall.
Yeah, but Brian May, Roger Taylor, Rush, Brian Johnson, Nile Rodgers, Chrissy Hynde, Kesha.
But this was just for like a memorial, or was there some sort of benefit thing that they were doing?
Yeah, it's
as
just a memorial. They're doing one in L.A. like next week. This was the England one. Elton John sent a video, apparently.
He zoomed in for it.
Oh, Dave Chappelle, Jason Sudeikis told a couple jokes.
Oh.
They had, I know that when the Foo Fighters finally played, and too, like Dave Grohl was like part of everything. He played something on everything.
Right, yeah, he was never not on stage.
But they had Josh Free sit in. They had Travis Barker sit in.
Who's Josh Free?
Josh Freeze.
Freeze.
Used to be in Perfect. He's a big session drummer. He's been around. I mean, he was
name
part of
sounds familiar.
He was part of the touring band for Nine Inch Nails.
Oh,
he was
okay.
Perfect Circle's drummer. He's been on like. He played drums on Chris Cornell's solo album. He's just a well-known rock session drummer from like the last 25, 30 years.
All right.
But and then just a whole bunch of shit went on at this concert, and it was pretty, and everyone had really good set. And then they did My Hero with his son, and I cried like a baby.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. But yeah, it was pretty. And then, like I said, the LA one, Alanis Morissette's going to join in because he was her drummer for a while. And
oh, that's right.
I think Chad Smith is going to be a drummer for its. I was reading about it all week and going, holy shit. But you said apparently this is on Paramount Plus.
Oh, so I can watch it. I'll have to check it out.
From what I've heard, everything but the Oasis and Supergrass.
Really?
My guess is Rights.
Oh, it's not on the broadcast. Oh, I thought like they were bad performances.
No,
maybe
they're not on. Like the whole concert is like it's a 6-hour concert, but except for Liam Gallagher opening it and Supergrass performed at one point, and they're not on there.
Yeah, maybe they just made a decision like, hey, this is just chock full of performances by like rock stars that are household names and Oasis and Supergrass.
But dude,
so maybe we should just cut these.
No, but it was in England.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like in England, they are household names. They are not in America, so that might have been why they just didn't make the broadcast. And probably, I mean, what kind of time is this thing coming in at?
I said 6 hours.
See, like they gotta. I can see why they'd want to trim a little bit of fat, keep it rolling along.
Really, 6 hours? What do I? Everybody did 3 songs. So what are we talking about? A fucking half hour? Hey, we're going to full 6.5. Too much.
Yeah, but if you're trying to get people to watch all 6 hours of that, and then you get to Supergrass and you're like, I don't know who this band is. Oh, now they're just into the bands that like I haven't heard of.
But I think if you like all of this music, at least you leave in. At least you be like, yeah, people who like
at
this
least
music would like
Oasis.
Oasis.
I would think so. There's not a lot of people who would, they've probably heard a Supergrass song because they had like some literal commercial success. Mm-hmm. Because they've got some really catchy tunes, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, that's a song that was in the Target commercial or something, whatever." But still, you say Supergrass, they're like blank. Is this Star Wars character? Is this oh no, DC Universe, right? Isn't that the guy that The Rock is playing? Supergrass.
Yeah, I think this is the song I've seen in commercials, and I remember going, "What?" Yeah.
Yeah, this is the one. I think this was
the Target
hearing a commercial
and going, really? But I also thought, good for them, because they didn't really they didn't break through here.
They got, was Caught by the Fuzz was the first single, I think, right? Was that Supergrass? Smoke a what now?
Sounds familiar. This is my...
You'll have to forgive them.
This is the one I liked, because this was the
when they say smoke a fag, they're not talking about doing illicit things in the alley.
Right.
That's what they call their cigarettes.
I believe the Jim Henson Creature Shop did this video. This one had a good video, and I just think it's a good rock song.
I know the song, but I don't think I've ever seen the video.
You've seen it. I think we've actually watched it on the show before. Trust me, it looks like the Jim Henson Creature Shop was involved.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I remember watching it now. Yeah, I got my youngest into this band. We found
a CD.
I used CD. We found like it was like a best of. I just had all the singles on it, and then like a whole extra disc of like live shit, and for like $6. I'm like, you should get this. She's like, I've never heard of this band. I'm like, you know some of these songs.
I think they're a catchy little English trio.
They are, and they're like, they kind of get put in with just like, well, I guess, Britpop seems to be a thing, but the bands that comprise Britpop, they tend to branch out a lot more than just like catchy, like sure, Blur's got a lot of songs that are very Britpoppy. They almost like defined that era of Britpop, but they went on to make various different music, get into like
but they also have
techno.
Song 2.
Right, yeah, a little more punk rock sounding, and then they've got stuff that just sounds like it's just like weird like throwback pop or like stuff that
you know 13, don't you? I'm sure we've talked and gushed over 13.
13's a beautiful album.
Yeah.
That's Brian Eno produced. Yeah, that's just like, and it's just good. Like, I don't even want to. It's like an insult to say like adult contemporary, but they're just great like adult contemporary songs. Like shit that sounds like Coldplay, but way better than Coldplay. Right?
I know when I was younger, I was on the Oasis side of Blur versus Oasis. Now as I'm old, no, dude, Blur by a mile.
Well, Blur, I mean, just aside from the fact that they made so many more albums than Oasis did, they also were just so prolific with it, like I was saying. Yeah. And Damon Albarn is, with his work with Gorillaz and everything, like he's proven that not only can he still create, he can adapt, he can, explore new genres. Like he's becoming like almost like the David Byrne for his generation.
That's a bold statement.
Yeah. But I'm going to stick by it.
Start wearing the big jacket.
Yeah.
Do you know what lo-fi music is?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Like the genre?
Well, lo-fi I would consider to be, maybe it's something different these days, but I would say it would be like a subgenre of indie. So like a band like Eric's Trip, where they did their stuff on cassette. And just like they just recorded demos.
Yeah, I thought that's
in
where
their
you would go.
basement.
That's where I initially went.
Yeah.
No.
So what are we talking about then?
Because the kids have gotten a hold of it. So hold on.
Is it just bit crunched shit. Where it just sounds like 8-bit. Everything sounds like 8-bit.
I have. This is great to crank up the vape pen and go to sleep to.
Okay.
And I've been doing this for a few months because
Yeah.
I'm trying to wean myself off the TV.
Okay.
You know, I still leave it on, but I have like a star screensaver because I'm a 12-year-old girl. So, here you go.
Now here I am standing in front of a judge pleading for just a little longer so that I can prove to you I can support it.
Everything I listen to is instrumental. I find the one thing that has a goddamn sample in it. There we go.
I think I've heard this. Well, either that or I know the sample that they took it from. But
Apparently, it's a lot of drum loops, piano, a lot of electric piano,
yeah,
jazz guitar lines. And according to Rich, this is Gen Z elevator music.
right.
Like they put it on to study and sleep and.
I mean, I could introduce him some DJ Shadow. And
I mean, that's
some,
what I was thinking. Like this, just
like check out Mowax Records.
all I'm
check
thinking is
out,
like this is just like Big Sonic Heaven shit.
right. I mean, I got tons of shit that would fit in with this.
But I stumbled across it.
But like, I'm not sure I'm targeting it from, like, give me 2 more examples and I can, like,
All right, let me go.
really hone in on what they're defining as lo-fi. Okay.
This.
So, I feel like what they're describing as lo-fi, because there's nothing low fidelity about this, but it is low dynamic range, right? And yeah, like they're not trying to fill up the whole spectrum like most music is these days. And I think that's why people are turning to this for like more relaxed music, because even the slower, less intense songs that hit the radio are still dynamic. They're compressed within an inch of their lives. There's no dynamics to the music anymore, and so you put in something that has like high dynamics and like rolling off a lot of the highs and not trying to fill up the whole frequency spectrum. You know, it's not. There's bass in there, but it's not super bassy. So this sounds a little more dynamic than the other stuff.
Well, this is called chill instrumental. Hold on. Here you go. This apparently is like.
I mean, it sounds like it could be bumper music for NPR.
Right.
You know?
Hold on. Let me get this thing down. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that there's so much describing. Like, I'd say, like most musical terms, it's just way off. But it is what it is, you know. Not to get into the dancing about architecture-ness of the whole discussion, but, you know, trying to describe music is fool's errand anyway.
Yeah.
But once you can assign something where you can, like, say, like, lo-fi and people know exactly what you're talking about, that's it. There's no reason to even try and fuck with that. So it's a good shorthand. But, I see the commonality between what you've played. It just seems weird. Maybe that's where we're heading with music, because I might, as a DJ, right? I might look to craft a set of music that was like this. You know, I might do what I would call a coffee house set, you know, some beats, some laid back stuff, nothing too aggressive, keep the BPMs low, nothing in your face. People want to talk over it, you know, and I still find that a pleasant challenge, you know, to put together stuff that still can be good and engaging, but still kind of sit in the background a little bit. I would look through my collection at different artist materials and find the ones that had stuff that fit. And this is just like, you know, if it's almost like music by algorithm, right? Like,
no, that's how
like,
remember I told you
can we just get an AI to just say, give me chill drum piano, and then just spit this out? Like, is anybody actually making this, or is this all AI created? I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean,
if
these
most
have
of
artist names.
Yeah.
No, it's
Somebody's got to cash
I found
the
this
check.
stuff
I mean, that's the thing. AI can't cash a check.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's got artist names on it.
I mean, I found when I told you I was sleeping to the trip hop instrumentals. I found this. This is better. Plus, no more bonobo. Like, this is all like my playlists. It's who, what. I know none of these people. Never heard their names ever. But whatever. Like I said, it's good to crank up the vape pen and go to sleep to.
A lot of this too is probably, well, you know, they're probably getting a lot of clicks from stuff like this. You know, people just putting on a playlist, but also, you know, people still do a lot of catalog music, and this might just be like, you know, they're out there shopping their stuff to like studios and shit, you know, for TV, movies, however the fuck this shit works. I mean, I don't know. But I do know that, you know, it's still a thing to just make a catalog album. So it's like your portfolio. So you can show somebody this and like, hey, you got a sexy cop drama? Well, imagine this like as your main, as your intro.
I'd say this right here is boom, like home run. This is exactly, if you look up a description of this style, this right here is it. Right as the fucking drums went away.
Yeah, it's really what it sounds like. It could be good soundtrack music. But lo-fi, yeah.
Trust me, I thought the same thing when I heard lo-fi. I thought
No
it was
vocals though, right?
No.
Like, that's a defining characteristic.
If you type in lo-fi on Google Music, you're going to see, like, so many fucking shit. It'll be, like, sleep, focus, study. Like, it's fucking...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I'm old.
I think if I had a choice, I could just rewind time and rename it, get there on the ground floor. I would really push for low bandwidth and not low fidelity. Because I think that's what it is, right? Mm-hmm. You don't want something that's going to be thoroughly engaging. It's like like when you put the TV on, right? You don't put on like, ooh, this movie looks really interesting. You put on, I've seen this.
Yeah.
So if I fall asleep in the middle of it, who fucking cares? Mm-hmm. Right? It's low bandwidth. It's not engaging you. It's just engaging a little bit of you enough so that the rest of you can go, oh, that's a signal to turn off.
Yeah.
Let's go to sleep now, guys.
Mm-hmm. No, because I thought the same thing as you. I thought that was like indie music where it's like...
recorded on a 4-track cassette recorder.
Yeah, we put up a mic in each corner of the room on a 4-track.
Yeah. So who knows how you get it. But like I said, you know, show me an accurate musical term. Like, rock and roll seems really accurate, and we know, we know
Nobody
what
rolls.
that is.
A lot of people rocking.
Yes.
Never seen anybody roll.
I guess, but what's rocking?
Yeah.
What's rocking? Why?
I'm rocking.
There's no rocks on the stage.
It's true.
There's no rocks involved in the making of the music or the instruments or anything.
I do believe rock and roll is a slang term that the brothers used to use for fucking. That's where it came from.
Ah, right. Well, that's very apt, because that's what all music is about, right?
Rocking and rolling.
The Weedsmen Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net. ChristopherMedia.net.
The Weedsmen Podcast.
Oh, this is rock and roll. Green Day releasing a 7-inch with coffee.
How Gen X of them.
Yeah. I mean, they're just...
So they come... Is it? Let me guess. It's their own coffee. It's not like a...
Oh, yeah.
It's not like a branding deal
It's
with
called
Maxwell House.
Father of All Dark Roast.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm interested.
Yeah. But, well, let's see. I can send you the deets if you want. Oh, it's a cute 7-inch there with the green vinyl.
But it's Green Day now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the problem. If Green Day 25 years ago, it'd be all about it.
What? Man, I wish I could remember the podcast that I was listening to. What was I listening to where Green Day came up? Oh, it was Bill Maher's podcast, right? He had Jeff Ross on recently.
Man, I can listen to his podcast. He's a lot of good people on.
Yeah, the Jeff Ross one was really good.
And also here, it's not political talk. It's just him hanging out.
Never. Well, I mean, occasionally they'll skim the surface, but they're not going to be like, oh, but let me tell you about this proposition. Mm-hmm. No, it's very much like, let's have a conversation.
No, that's his other job.
Let's get high. Let's get drunk. Whatever you're into, we're just going to hang out. But so he's hanging with Jeff Ross when they start talking about music, and he brought up, I can't remember what band started, but it was something like The Clash. Oh, no, he said, I'm watching the Sex Pistols show on Hulu. Jeff Ross was. And Bill Maher was not interested. And he's like, yeah, whatever, punk, and he's like, no, but you should watch it. It's really good. It's a really good show. And I guess it's Danny Boyle, who did Trainspotting, who's producing and directing this thing, which makes me definitely want to watch it. I mean, even though, I don't really give a shit about the Sex Pistols either.
As big as a music nerd as I am, I didn't know only one album.
Yeah, one album and done.
I just thought Nevermind the Bollocks was their breakthrough. That's it.
That's it, yeah. Well, I mean, then not Johnny Rotten, but Sid Vicious died. And then, Johnny Rotten went on to do Public Image and other projects. But yeah, so he just kind of poo-pooed Sex Pistols. And then Jeff Ross was like, really, you're not into the Pistols? He's like, are you into punk at all? And he's like, are you into the Clash? And he's like, no, I'm not into the Clash, not into the Ramones, not into any of it. And like, Jeff Ross is almost trying to sell it. Like, it's just probably has never really met a person who, like, most people have heard of these bands and could maybe at least name a song and be like, oh yeah, I like punk, and would just go along with it, right? He probably doesn't run into a lot of people who are just like, no, I don't like punk. I don't think that it was important music. I don't think he was talking about it like it's just unfinished, right? He's like, you know what punk I like? Green Day.
oh boy.
I was like, God damn it. But he also made the point that, like, they're not really that punk anymore, but he's like, they started out punk and then eventually they finished their music. Now they make full songs and they sound great and they're a great rock band and I love them. Like, all right, you do you, Bill.
My line of delineation with them is 1999. Before 1999, I could argue they were doing punk music.
Yeah, I mean, even the stuff that they first broke with. Well, I mean, like, the first album was definitely, like, it was punk, kind of like a punk ska thing that they were doing. And then they broke that album, which was very, I mean, a little more rock, but still had that punk edge to it. It was kind of like Rancid, And then after that, it was just full on, nope.
Now, I will say they popped out of it for a minute, like, American Idiot's a good concept album. I don't know if you've ever listened to it.
I've heard enough of it.
Well, yeah. I mean, half of it was singles. Yeah. But yeah, like most mainstream albums, most of the stuff on American Idiot that's good, they never fucking saw light of day on the radio.
Yeah.
I still think American Idiot should have been... This is 2010. That should be our national anthem.
Yeah, well, that's what Bill Maher was saying. It's like they were prescient.
And you know,
they were
funny?
ahead of their time.
The other day, I was reading the lyrics of Holiday. That song is a Rorschach test. Because
really?
That song, if you read the lyrics, could be seen as a pro-protester song, or an anti-protester song.
Interesting. I don't think I've ever actually listened to the lyrics of that song.
I read them because I was just like, it was one of those songs where like, I think I know half of the words of this. What the fuck is this guy saying? And I read the lyrics and I was like, huh. I was like, depending on how you read this, he's either for protesting or against protesting.
Yeah. Well, they're also just ripping off Iggy Pop with that song.
Right.
Listen to The Passenger and tell me that's not Holiday.
I could argue it's not Holiday.
All right. Pretty close.
Different, I get what you're saying, but different hooks.
Yeah. But it both, I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe they're both ripping off The Clash. Because it's just kind of like a punk song with a ska beat, right? It has a,
well, when did The Passenger come out?
Oh, Passenger is 70s.
What's the thing? Clash was late 70s.
Yeah, so maybe he was on that before The Clash. I know, like, Iggy Pop is, like, the godfather of punk.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, I don't...
How come when they bring up punk rock...
It's always the Sex Pistols.
The Who does not get any... Dude, I think punk rock... I think without The Who, you don't get punk rock.
You may be right. You may be crazy.
Okay, Michael Scott. I think My Generation is the original punk song.
Sure, but they got too good at their instruments,
right?
You know.
No, but they were the first.
It's hard
band
to argue punk with like virtuosos in your band.
But they were the first band that was breaking shit. But how they played, how they were playing.
Yes,
like I said, the message of the song, like My Generation, that's all fucking power chords, man, and a kick-ass bass solo.
Yeah, well, I definitely see what you're saying. It's to me, it's almost like The Who is almost like the crest of that first wave of rock where it like gets so big, right? It's
like
so
the mods,
like the sound systems just get bigger, everything gets bigger, the crowds get bigger, they're playing arenas, and punk rock is like a reaction to that. I think that you don't get punk without The Who, but only because The Who took it to such a level that they became the establishment.
Oh, absolutely.
To push back against.
Now, I'm not arguing that they ever were a punk band or they.
No, I know what you're saying.
I'm saying,
I know what you're saying.
They're like
in the same way that like you don't get death metal if you don't have Led Zeppelin at some point, right?
Yeah. Actually, no. I say hair metal. I say death.
Any kind of hair metal. I think Black Sabbath, another band.
No, I'm saying for death metal, Black Sabbath.
Death metal, okay, yeah, all right, yes.
If Black Sabbath never exists, we never get Metallica.
True. Yes. That I believe.
Like, Ozzy's responsible for a lot more fucking music than people think, as far as genres and inspirations and such. And again, another Tony Iommi gets like no love.
Yeah, for like a genre-defining guitar tone.
Yeah, or style.
Yeah.
And it was all because he fucking lost parts of the tips of his fingers in a factory in his day job accident.
Really?
Yeah. There's a reason he was doing power chords because he was missing the tips of one of his fingers or some shit.
Damn.
Which eventually he ended up getting a prosthetic on so he could play. But yeah.
That's interesting. Prosthetic fingertip. I didn't know that.
Man, I'm all musiced up today.
I was reading, speaking of music, I was reading about Josh Klinghoffer, who was the guy, he was the guitar player for, 2 different Red Hot Chili Pepper albums?
Yeah, he was the guy in between John Frusciante's last stints.
Yeah. He was talking about Rick Rubin And it's just kind of mind-blowing to me.
I saw this article. I didn't click on it because I was like, you're a fucking moron just by the article, just by the title.
He says Rick Rubin was way more of a hindrance than a help when it came to recording with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And like, wow, I thought like...
I could give you several million reasons why the Red Hot Chili Peppers like working with Rick Rubin.
Yeah. You know, because he puts his pants on the same way everybody else does. But when his pants are on, he makes fucking hit records.
Yeah. Do Blood Sugar Sex Magic, Stadium Arcadium.
It was just curious to me, like everybody, you know, whatever his experience was. I mean, obviously, I don't think this is like, Rick Rubin is like some kind of monster. But I've always, you know, the image that he portrays and I think that people get from his work is that he's like kind of hands off, right? Let the band shine. Like, let's get the performance through first and foremost. Not trying to like shape everything and like have a set goal in mind or like, here's what we want on this. Like, you tell me what you want on this song, I'll help you bring that to the forefront. Mm-hmm. He said, what does he say in this article? I'm incredibly conflicted about my output with that band because I feel like in both circumstances, producers got in the way of us truly making great music or a great record. Almost like all the songs that we wrote together. It's almost like all the songs that we wrote together, but seldom did we capture them in the best way. I don't know if that's how he said it or if that was just bad editing. It's got to be a rough gig. I mean, not saying it's rough to go on tour with the Chili Peppers. That sounds like fun. But to have to be the man in between, like, an acclaimed guitar player like Frusciante, that's a rough gig, right? It's like having to go on before and after Dave Chappelle on a comedic lineup, right? That's the equivalent. So my heart goes out to him. That said, you got to have some kind of reason that you can tell yourself every day of why your albums that you were on with the Red Chili Peppers didn't do as well as the ones that Frusciante was on with the same band.
Rick Rubin can only do so much with the material he's given because it comes down to the songwriting, buddy.
Right. He says, in the case of I'm With You, I felt like Rick Rubin was way more of a hindrance than a help. He told me once, I just want to help the songs be the best they can be. I should have said, well, then get your driver to come and get you.
Ooh!
Burn!
But at some point, would you not defer to the guy who's been in the music industry for like 40 years and has sold millions of albums and has produced like countless like hits that are part of the zeitgeist? I'm going to defer to you, Rick Rubin. Tell me what to play.
Hey, in 10 years, you know who's probably still going to be around? Rick Rubin and the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Right.
You know who's not going to be around? Whoever the fuck your name is. I already forgot it. Like,
Josh Klingenhofer.
The Josh Klingenhofer project is not going to be topping the charts anytime soon.
No, it is not.
They do cite in this article that he's not the first artist to complain about Rubin's methods. Slipknot frontman Corey Taylor did not hold back in his criticism, although later admitted that Rubin's handoff approach in producing the band's 2004 album was simply not what he needed as a frontman at the time.
2004, is that number 4?
Volume 3.
Is that the subliminal verses? That's why that's the fucking Slipknot album I like. Now I know.
Because that's the one Rubin produced?
Yes. I was always wondered what... I guess, too, it was also the time in my life. It was like right when our band formed. It was on a lot. But it was also like... It's the only Slipknot album, like, like...
That one's got the groove.
There you go. That's Rick Rubin. Mystery solved.
Yeah, and, you know, they're not even... He doesn't elaborate, not Corey guy, but Josh Klingenhofer, whatever. He doesn't even really elaborate on what it is that Rick Rubin was doing. So I guess... He
just didn't like his approach.
He didn't... he didn't like that Rick Rubin had ideas.
Right.
Right?
It's my music. Yeah, well, I'm going to make it sound fucking awesome.
I get that every artist has their own vision, and that's what makes them an artist, right? Whether you agree with it or not, or whether it sells or not, they have a vision, and that's their thing. But if I, as a musician, had the chance to sit in a room with Rick Rubin and get my shit recorded,
whatever you say, Mr. Rubin,
I would be deferring to the man with the beard in the room.
Well,
and
have
say,
you ever
like,
heard the story of the bass line of "Give It Away"?
No, what's the...
It was originally Flea, like, had this, like, crazy, funky, like, intricate thing, and Rubin was like, all right, that's cool, and then he played the mix, and Flea was like, he just played, like, the first 2 fucking measures.
Oh, he just looped that shit?
Yeah.
Just the doom, boom.
Yeah. He's like, initially I was pissed, and then I heard the song, and I was like, no, that's fucking awesome.
That's the groove of the song right there. You don't lose that right away. The man hears shit that others don't.
Mm-hmm. And again, I would, like, trust me, in situations where I know I'm outclassed, I go into, like, sponge mode. And if I'm Josh Klingenhofer,
yeah,
I'd be like, yes, Mr. Rubin.
Yeah, teach me how to make fucking hit records then. Because all I'm doing now is session work with a band that's going to kick me out the minute they're
the minute the guy who writes all their hits is done
cleaned
being
up.
bored. Yeah.
He comes out of his bunker. They're going to kick me to the curb again.
Have you actually seen them lately?
I want to say I've seen like some live footage, but no, I've never really paid attention to what their live shows
No, I'm
are
just
like.
saying that's the aging has caught up with Flea and Anthony Kiedis.
They're starting to slow down.
And Chad Smith still looks like Chad Smith.
Starting to melt a little bit.
No, they fucking look like fucking skeletons. Like
Yeah.
their skin's all wrinkled. They look like old dudes.
Yeah, they look like Iggy Pop.
Yeah. They look like they had an awesome time 30 years ago. Like I saw a video for their new song. I was like, ooh, I shouldn't have seen the video with this song first. and someone... Anthony Kiedis got the Hitler mustache. Why?
Another person trying to bring it back?
Like Michael Jordan had it for a while.
Dude. If Michael Jordan couldn't pull it off, what makes you think your white ass can?
I don't understand why Michael Jordan even had it.
I don't either. No, I agree with you.
There's
but
two
like,
men in history: Hitler and Charlie Chaplin. That's
all I'm
it.
saying is the rest of the dudes in the world should have taken notice when Michael Jordan couldn't pull off the Hitler. Like, okay, check, that's off my list. Not even going to try it. I'll just, for a joke in the mirror when I'm shaving, I might.
And I never got the Hitler mustache. Like, I feel like shaving, but this one last swipe, nah.
Had to be just, I think it was razor technology and people just showing off.
Look, I can make it shorter.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I can shave above and below mine.
I'm just a little square of hair.
I can have a Van Dyke. Yeah. Well, what if what if Hitler had like a big ass cop stash? Like he could have ruined that for everybody for the rest of their lives.
Imagine would cops all have beards? Cops would all have the Hitler mustache.
That's what I was going to say. All cops and gay guys would have the Hitler mustache.
Freddie Mercury would have been rocking the Hitler mustache.
Well, you look like a guy from Sparks.
Right. Magnum P.I. would be a very different lore.
That's who can pull off the Hitler, is the guy from Sparks. He also does the above and below shave, too, very well.
I mean, Tom Selleck would be totally different. Wilford Brimley.
Tom Selleck could only play villains.
Right.
So in some weed news, I guess Biden was in Pennsylvania recently. I got a chance to talk to, I thought I had it on here.
Well, he is from there.
Right, but there's the Fetterman dude.
Oh, the guy that's running against Dr. Oz?
Yeah, isn't he the dude that looks like he owns a pawn shop?
Yes.
Yeah. I guess, so Dr. Oz was asked about cannabis the other day, and he did admit to saying it was a safer solution to, he was basically agreeing with Fetterman on this, because Fetterman's very much pro-medical marijuana, and was...
well, he looks like he'd sell you weed.
Was definitely bending Biden's ear about that. But Oz has been because he's pro-cannabis, of course, Oz is going to use that as a use that against him, and anybody they always equate being pro-cannabis as being like soft on crime. Like you just want to legalize everything. Let's see, the host pressed GOP candidate Oz. This was on an interview on Fox News. Oh wait, hold on a second. Let me start over. So Dr. Oz is on Fox News. They're talking about Fetterman, who according to them wants to legalize all drugs. And, quote, doesn't want to talk about issues that he says are more important to Pennsylvanians. The host pressed the candidate Oz on marijuana policy, asking for his reaction to Democratic Senate nominee's recent call for the President Joe Biden to use executive authority to decriminalize marijuana ahead of his visit to Pittsburgh. Fetterman was saying to Biden, like, hey, that magic pen that just erased debt for a bunch of people, like...
That's a demand. Like, hey, before we come here, decriminalize weed.
Like, why don't you just fucking do it? Why don't you just, get Mortimer, get your picture pages out.
Oh boy.
And fucking just do it. You got the magic pen.
Well, is Mortimer canceled, by the way?
Yeah.
Mortimer was complicit. I bet Mortimer saw some shit.
Mortimer was like, that monster had his hands all over me every week. Okay, so what was his response to that? What did he say?
He said, huh? Where am I?
No, we're back to Oz now. So he says, listen, my issue is, and when a politician tells you, when he says listen, that means here comes the lie.
Right. Listen, I'm about to tell you some bullshit.
Yeah, listen, this is going to be complete bullshit that I'm just pulling out of my ass because I'm cornered right now. But my issue is that he wants to legalize all drugs, said misleadingly, because has he? I mean, like, I think that would be the headlines that we were seeing about Fetterman. If he was actually out there saying legalize all drugs, all of them, across the board. You want fentanyl? You want heroin? You want cocaine? You want it cracked or powdered? It's all legal. If he was actually saying that shit, that would be the headlines. Clearly, he's not. He's just pushing for legal cannabis. But, it's everyone's it's Oz trying to make the slippery slope argument. Well, sure, it's just cannabis today, and then tomorrow, then
you have babies wearing thong underwear.
Right, exactly. Where does it end? So he wants to legalize all drugs, which he doesn't. He even supports heroin injection sites. And we have the largest open-air drug market in the country here in Philadelphia. It's destroying the city. Yeah. Almost seems contradictory. Like he said, you got to do... Like, you've got people doing drugs out in the open. So I don't know how you... I mean, I guess you can stop that, but it's like you just can't. It's no easier to control than like homelessness, right? Like if you can't control homeless, you can't control people doing drugs in your street.
Yeah. Well, sometimes one and the same.
So maybe if you get them off the street and allow them to do their drug in a more controlled environment where they're not dying, and maybe they have a little bit of support and can see a little light at the end of the tunnel. That makes them want to go, maybe I don't want to do this anymore.
How come we've abandoned treatment?
Yeah.
It seems like when we were coming up, it seemed to be touted a lot more than now. Now it's, just let them do it. What happened to be like, these people are sick. It's not a lifestyle choice.
Well, I think that people don't make the connection well enough between, just letting people do it can be, I'm not saying it always is, but it can be a gateway to treatment, and it surely is a better gateway than living on the street with no support at all, right? If you're homeless and you're addicted to whatever you're addicted to, how do you stop? How? Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go to DT? What are you going to do during that time? How are you going to not die?
Well, I mean, this, tax, I would mind my tax money paying for things like public rehab centers. things
it's
like
not,
that.
Like, and I'm not saying, I don't know the details of Fetterman's program, but none of these programs are just like, free needles. Yeah, we just fucking, it's like Mardi Gras, you know, we just ride down into the ghetto and just start chucking them out of the truck. Glass pipes for the crackheads, needles for the smackheads.
Show me your titties. Give me. Oh, you get some needles.
Yeah, exactly. We just put them on beads and people just catch them on a stick. It's not like that. It's outreach. It might be a clean needle so you can shoot your drugs and not die today. But they're also going to put that pamphlet in their hand with information. So when that person says, I'm homeless, how do I stop doing anything? Like, this is it for me. They can get some information to say, no, it doesn't have to be. Here's how we can get you treatment. Here's how we can get you a bed to stay in. Here's how we can get you back on the right track. It's a node. It's a point of contact with somebody that otherwise is just another faceless person on the street.
Yeah.
So none of these programs are all just like, I mean, it's not like you just want to put up a barricade around them and like, okay, we'll just wall off this portion of the city and let people do drugs in there. No, these are programs that can actually lessen the number of people on your street. Well, anyways, in conclusion, Dr. Oz is an idiot, but who doesn't know that? Is this really a tight race? Can't believe this guy is like...
He's on TV.
Yeah, it's true.
Just remember that time the host of The Apprentice was our president?
So in a recent study on cannabis, this was from the University of College London and the University of Cambridge, they published an article about their study in the International Journal of Neuropsychopharmacology. That's a big fucking word.
Oh, shit.
I made it through it, though. The Journal of Neuropsychopharmacology. And so what they were studying in this is, let's see, this is from the actual study. There's been a lot of concern that cannabis use in adolescence might lead to worse outcomes than cannabis during adulthood. But our study suggests that adolescents are no more vulnerable than adults to the harmful effects of cannabis on motivation, the experience of pleasure, or the brain's response to reward. So the researchers wanted to investigate whether cannabis has an impact on the user's level of apathy, anhedonia, which is described as a loss of intent in or pleasure from rewards. So
does it make you lazy?
And whether it made them lazier to achieve an award. So anhedonia, I think that you ever, like when you're a kid, you ever play a video game so much that you just like became numb and you're just like, you realized I have to stop doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's that. Like you're not even responding to like making a goal in your game or anything. You're just like blindly plowing through the game. I think that's what they're describing. The team compared 274 adults and adolescent cannabis users who had used at least once per week in the past 3 months. They were given questionnaires, measured their degree of apathy, along with enthusiasm of completing their work, and they really just found no difference. Now, what's interesting is what they're describing in the body of this is a study on cannabis users. And what their conclusion in this says, so we're so used to seeing lazy stoners, quote unquote, on our screens that we don't stop to ask whether they're an accurate representation of the cannabis user, which, I mean, we've talked about this a lot. It just doesn't from our experience. There's lazy people and there's not lazy people. Some of those lazy people are smokers. Some of those lazy people never touched a drug in their life.
Yeah.
They're just fucking lazy.
Yeah.
Happens.
Yeah, some people don't even need weed to be a lazy piece of shit.
Exactly. And some people are lazy and then smoke weed and then they just off the deep end.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it can be a bad combination. Trust me. Like
that
if
is
you're
not chocolate and peanut butter.
If you're a naturally like lazy, unmotivated person, weed is probably not the drug for you. I'll admit that. Because yeah, it slows you down. That's why I take it. Right?
Yeah.
So I can take 4 thoughts and line them up and make sense of them. Because they're without it, they all are like overlaid on top of each other, all in a background of like whatever music is stuck in my head that day, which is usually something dumb.
It slows things down so I can organize my thoughts.
Yeah. Right. Like, I think here's another Simpsons reference for you when they're talking about the diseases that Mr. Burns has. It's Three Syndromes, Three Stooges syndrome, where they're all trying to get through the door at the same time. And, that's like what all my thoughts are trying to do. They're all trying to get through the door at the same time, and the marijuana just makes them get in a line and then go through the door in an orderly fashion.
Or it just makes the door wider.
Yeah, or that. Yeah, that's probably
depending on the weed.
More apt. I get what they're saying. I think maybe it's maybe it's contextualized poorly in this article, because what they're studying is the difference in cannabis between its effects on minors versus adults, which we've talked about.
Yeah, but I know developmentally it fucks with you, like.
Yeah, and I think that's still I think that's still the case. They're looking at short-term things here. Mm-hmm. They're getting them stoned and then having them take a questionnaire. They're not looking at their lifestyle over a decade and seeing were they successful or not. Did they struggle more because of cannabis or less so? What it doesn't say at all is, they didn't study non-users, right? So the study found that cannabis users appear to be better able to enjoy themselves than non-users.
Well, yeah, they're partying.
Right, but unless I'm missing something, what they're describing in this article is a study of cannabis users.
Yeah, so where's your control?
The control in this case is the adult, right? They want to study the kid, and they use the adult as the control. What they describe in the headline is the control being sober people, and studying if the cannabis difference cannabis use made a difference. But that's not what they actually studied. So, I guess just poor journalism.
Yeah, it's about right.
Interesting study, all the same, but yeah, not really the point. I would still say, if you're a teenager, don't do it.
Wait till college.
I'm not saying don't ever do it, right? Kids are going to experiment.
If you become a stoner, wait till college.
That's the thing, being a stoner, right? I'm not saying that some kid's going to try cannabis on the weekend and then he's just going to go off the rails. It's if you get into doing it every day, you're not going to want to go to school, dude. You're not going to want to finish.
You're barely going to want to go to class. My college transcripts are proof.
Oh, here's another story on it, too. Let me skim this real quick and see if they've got the same take. Aha. Okay, this article does mention something that was left out of the other one. The study worked with 274 teenage and adult participants. A control group of non-users matched for age and sex with the users also took part in the research. Okay, so there you go. I was wrong, but I was misinformed. They did have a sober control group, and what they found, so this does actually make it interesting. Now, the question of age, toss that out, right? It's interesting that it didn't make a difference between teenagers and adults, but I'm not even interested in that because, like you said, we're talking about long-term use and its effects with teenagers. But the idea that even against their control group of sober people, they found no difference in the change of, what were they measuring again? Motivation. Forget what that word that started with A was.
I don't know. I can't even pretend to remember what it was.
Ayahuasca?
Abraham.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess they actually did.
Apollonia.
They actually did find that it had no discernible difference, no effect on motivation or the ability to feel pleasure. Now, I don't think they were talking about jerking off. They were, your what's it called? Your reward system in your brain. Your
dopamine.
Yeah, serotonin and dopamine and shit like that. All the little shit that
So say it
fires
doesn't-
off when you get a new notification on your social media, or you.
So they're trying
you
to say
beat that
it doesn't
level.
burn out your pleasure center?
Yes, it does not. It does not burn out your pleasure center.
There you go, kids. Smoke them if you got them.
Yeah, which I can definitely attest to. Smoking just makes me hornier. It's porn that's blowing up my pleasure center.
Fair.
Too much on demand. You just start narrowing in. Oh, okay. I want a blonde with big tits. Nah, C cup. Okay, now put a choker on her. All right. Now, how about a little bit of a maid outfit? There you go. You have exactly what you wanted. I think porn's just eventually going to go AI. That's going to be the best use of AI. All this. Have you seen the AI art? Like, you can just basically feed like search terms into this program to say, United States presidents and movie monsters from the 50s. And they would just give you a bunch of weird monster portraits that were just like
Trumpzilla.
artificially created. And it's
Was
really
it fucking weird science?
and it's like disturbing looking. Because you're like, wow, that looks like somebody made that, but it was just thought of by computer. I guess a computer thought of it. Yeah,
Manner of speaking.
I guess. But I think that's where it's going to go, right? The animation and everything is all going to be so seamless that it's just going to look like real people, and we won't have to have porn stars.
Hey, Tucker Jibs! We get closer and closer to the Matrix.
You would be the director. You would just be like,
Every day.
every day. Yeah, you could do it every day.
No, I said we get closer and closer to the Matrix
Oh,
every day.
okay.
Did you see the kid in Michigan? This made the national news, I think.
Which one?
The DNR was going around. I think the kids were, I don't say kids, they're like college kids. They were fishing, and they were just going around Labor Day weekend checking fishing licenses. And the kid lit up a joint in front of the cop, and the cop was like, "Are you really going to smoke weed in front of me right now?" Actual quote. Kid said, "It's legal, bro." Blows a smoke in his face. Hey, guess who got a ticket? Because guess what?
It's not
dipshit. Yeah, you can't. It's the same reason you can't just crack open a beer and start drinking it in front of the cop. There's public consumption, dummy.
It's not legal to consume in public. It's
Yeah.
not legal to blow smoke in somebody's face because that's assault.
That's just being a dick.
No, that really is assault. Like spitting on somebody, blowing smoke in their face, flicking objects that's all assault. Flicking a cigarette butt at somebody, that's assault. You don't have to lay hands on somebody. That's battery. Assault can be a number of things, and he could have got a lot worse than the ticket for, fishing without a license.
Yeah, it's legal, bro.
He's just lucky he didn't get harpooned.
Right.
I don't know.
Cop was on a lake. Kid could have drowned and looked like an accident. It's crazy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Crazy. A giant catfish came out of the water.
Dude, if you're out, it was probably more of an urban area, but if you were out in a state park and you had a dude approach you like a trooper or whatever.
Well, it's a DNR officer.
A DNR officer, yeah, thank you. And that dude turns his body camera off, you better fucking run.
Right?
Because ain't nobody finding your ass. You see that red light go off? Just fucking gun it, dude.
He knows what bear to fucking feed you to.
Exactly.
Like, oh, Smokey's going to have good dinner for a couple days.
Yeah, the only way they're finding your ass is by doing DNA tests on the bear scat. All right, well, that's a grim note to go out on, huh?
Yes. A bear eating you. From a rogue DNR officer. Moral of the story, don't blow smoke in a cop's face.
Yeah, I want to see that TV show, too. Just a DNR officer who kills people and hides them in the fucking woods.
Yeah, fucking just rogue. Oh, man. TM. By the way, TM.
Rogue
Can't steal our
DNR.
idea.
I love it. That's going to be our we're doing business as title.
Rogue DNR.
Yeah.
Hey, follow us on the social media on Twitter at the Weedsman420. Like us on Facebook. Go to ChristopherMedia.net. Hit the PayPal button. Hit the Amazon banner if you would like to help us out. And wherever you listen to the podcast, rate us and review us if you have that capability. It helps other people find the show. And that's how you do it in 2022. It's all any purchase I make, pretty much, if I can't physically review the item, it's all about the reviews and the ratings. The same thing with podcasts. So if you could help us out, please, thank you. We'd appreciate it. And you can also stay high.
Stay high, folks.
The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net.